That's a tough life as well.
Yes, you can have a privileged tough life and a unprivileged tough life. But yours was certainly not a wealthy one by any means.
Welcome to our channel. Charles Bronson was not the kind of glamorous hero with a radiant smile or a sharp suit. Instead, he was the man with a weathered face, piercing eyes, and a quiet yet powerful presence on screen. He didn't need many words to convey emotion. A single glance was enough to reveal his pain, anger, and burning determination. But what few people know is that behind that tough and stoic exterior, Charles Bronson's life was marked by hidden pains, hardships, and countless trials. If you're a fan of Charles Bronson and curious about the real story behind his life, make sure to watch this video until the end. We'll take you on a journey through the struggles of his poverty-stricken youth, his soaring success on the big screen, and the secrets he kept hidden throughout his life. Childhood and impoverished beginnings. Charles Bronson, born Charles Charlie Dennis Bukinski on November 3, 1921, was the 11th of 15 children in a large family. His parents, Valteris Bukinskis and Mary Valinsky, were Lithuanian immigrants who came to the United States in search of a better life. They settled in the coal mining region of Allegheny in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where Valteris worked as a miner. To blend into American society, Valteris changed his name to Walter Bukinski, hoping that adopting a more American name might bring better fortune to the family. However, life was never easy for Charles Bronson's family. They lived in a cramped home, struggling to make ends meet, and young Charlie faced a childhood filled with poverty and hardship. Language was a significant barrier for him, as he didn't speak a word of English when he started school. At home, the family only spoke Lithuanian, which was the language Charlie knew. Even after he learned English fluently, he spoke with such a heavy accent that when he joined the military, his fellow soldiers thought he was from another country rather than an American citizen. Remarkably, Charlie was multilingual, speaking 4 languages: English, Lithuanian, Russian, and Greek. However, the language challenges were only a small part of the series of hardships Charlie faced. In a 1973 interview, he shared that he wasn't sure whether to love or hate his father, Valteris. Charlie rarely had the chance to be close to him, and every time Valteris came home, the children would find ways to hide out of fear. When Charlie turned 10, his father passed away due to work-related health issues from the coal mines, leaving the family in even deeper poverty and deprivation. After his father's death, young 10-year-old Charlie had to take on the family's responsibility by following in his father's footsteps into the coal mines. Although he was far too young for such grueling work, Charlie accepted it, earning a meager wage, just $1 for each ton of coal he helped extract with his team. Those days left an indelible mark on Bronson's memory. He volunteered for double shifts to make an extra $1 each week, taking on the most dangerous and demanding tasks a child could be assigned. Young Charlie worked in the dark, cramped mines, battling headaches and the haunting fear of confined spaces, a phobia that Bronson carried with him for the rest of his life. The Bronson family was so poor they couldn't even afford milk to feed the younger children. Charlie's mother had to give them cold tea as a substitute, and he often went hungry himself. Sometimes, due to the lack of clothes, Charlie had to wear his sister's dresses to school, enduring the teasing of his classmates. Despite the hardships and ridicule, Bronson remained determined in his studies. He became the first child in his family to graduate from high school, a significant achievement for a young coal miner who worked tirelessly to support his family. The long days in the mines not only forged a tough and resilient Charles Bronson, but also left scars, both physical and emotional. From a poor boy with seemingly no prospects, Bronson not only overcame adversity but also carried with him valuable lessons in resilience and perseverance. These painful experiences became the foundation for the man who would later become a symbol of strength and determination on the Hollywood screen. Acting career, a journey from hardship to glory. In 1943, at the age of 22, Charles Bronson left the coal mines after 12 years of grueling labor to join the U.S. Air Force during World War II. He was assigned to the 760th Flexible Gunnery Squadron, and by 1945, he became a gunner on a Boeing B-29 Superfortress in the 61st Bombardment Squadron, stationed in Guam. His mission was to carry out air raids on Japanese islands. During one of these flights, he was injured and awarded the Purple Heart. This was a profound moment in his life, and later, when he became Charles Bronson, it was this real combat experience that made him the most battle-hardened actor in war films. After the war, Charlie returned home and took on various jobs to make ends meet. It wasn't until he joined a theater group in Philadelphia that he began to find a new direction. Together with his friend Jack Klugman, a stage actor, they rented an apartment in New York to pursue their passion for the arts. In 1950, after getting married, Charlie moved to Hollywood and began studying acting. At first, he only landed small roles, appearing alongside stars like Roy Rogers, Red Skelton, and Lee Marvin in television shows and boxing films. Thanks to the attention of director Andre de Toth, Charlie began to land more roles in films like Miss Sadie Thompson, House of Wax, Riding Shotgun, and most notably, Tennessee Champ and Crime Wave. However, his Eastern European-sounding surname, Buczynski, proved to be a hindrance to his career in Hollywood. On the advice of his agent, he decided to change his name to Charles Bronson. From 1954 onward, this name became an indelible part of cinematic history. It wasn't until 4 years later that Charles Bronson landed his first leading role, though it was only in a television series, the ABC show Man with a Camera, in which he played Detective Mike Kovach. The film industry began to take notice of him as well, offering him a role in John Sturgis's Never So Few, 1959. Meanwhile, Bronson continued to secure lead roles in various television shows. One day, John Sturgis called him and said, "I'm about to make an iconic cowboy film that needs 7 leads. Are you interested?" That film was The Magnificent Seven, 1960, featuring a star-studded cast: Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Brad Dexter, Horst Buchholz, Robert Vaughn, and Charles Bronson. This marked a major turning point in his career. In 1963, when John Sturgis directed one of the greatest war films of all time, The Great Escape, only 3 actors from The Magnificent Seven were invited back, and Charles Bronson was one of them, alongside Steve McQueen and James Coburn. Bronson's role as Bernardo O'Reilly in The Magnificent Seven earned him $50,000, and more importantly, it made him a beloved star both in the U.S. and across Europe. However, despite his success in 2 John Sturgis films, Bronson remained typecast in familiar television roles in Hollywood. It wasn't until 1965 that he landed his first leading role on the big screen in Guns of Diablo. And it wasn't until 1967, with The Dirty Dozen, that Bronson truly gained recognition in Hollywood. While Charles Bronson's career in the U.S. was slow to gain traction, he was admired by the European film industry. French cinema sought him for the lead role in Adieu l'ami, English title Honor of Thieves, where he starred alongside Alain Delon. In 1968, while negotiating with French producers, Bronson's agent recalled their remark, "In Europe, we care more about a character's personality than their looks." With Delon as the handsome hero, Bronson served as the perfect contrast, the rugged but captivating veteran. That same year, Bronson's portrayal of the harmonica-playing gunman in Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West became iconic. Leone had initially wanted Bronson to play the lead in A Fistful of Dollars, but for various reasons, Bronson declined, and the role ultimately went to Clint Eastwood. Bronson's career continued to flourish in Europe, with a string of successful films such as Guns for San Sebastian, France, Lola, UK, and especially Rider in the Rain, France, which won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Film in 1970. It seemed that European cinema appreciated Bronson's talent more than Hollywood did, as he consistently landed leading roles in major productions. One of his most memorable achievements was the film Red Sun, 1971, where Bronson collaborated with Alain Delon, Toshiro Mifune, and Ursula Andress. In 1972, Hollywood finally recognized Charles Bronson's talent. He starred in 3 consecutive films directed by Michael Winner: Chato's Land, The Mechanic, and The Stone Killer. By 1973, at the age of 52, Bronson became one of the highest-paid actors in the world, earning $1 million per film. This was also when he began his famous Death Wish series, which spanned 5 films over 2 decades. Critic Stephen Hunter described Bronson as the embodiment of strength, masculine vigor, and stoicism. Bronson didn't need to do much, but his mere presence commanded the screen and drew all eyes to him. In a 1974 interview with critic Roger Ebert, Bronson shared, "I'm just a product, like a bar of soap, and I'm sold as best as I can." Bronson understood that his power wasn't in delivering lengthy dialogues or complex performances, but in his ability to dominate the screen with his uniquely commanding presence. Personal life and relationships. Charles Bronson, the man who often appeared tough and stoic on screen, had his own hidden tragedies in his personal life. His first marriage, to actress Harriet Tendler, seemed to be a hopeful beginning for both of them. Harriet stood by Bronson during his early years of struggle as he sought to find his place in Hollywood. However, like many love stories, the distance between them grew over time, especially as Bronson's fame rose and his career took off. Despite having 2 children together, Suzanne and Tony, their marriage could not withstand the changes and eventually ended. In 1965, after his marriage to Harriet ended, Bronson met and married actress Jill Ireland, who had just gone through a divorce with actor David McCallum. The relationship between Bronson and Ireland was often described as a unique blend of strength and sensitivity. Ireland was not only his life partner, but also his acting partner, with the 2 appearing in 15 films together over the course of their careers. Jill Ireland captivated Charles Bronson not only with her beauty and talent, but also with her unwavering resilience in the face of a brutal battle with cancer. When Ireland was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1984, Bronson stepped away from his career, devoting all his time to caring for his wife. He became her steadfast pillar of support, helping her endure the pain and suffering brought on by treatments. In Ireland's final years, Bronson was by her side, never leaving her, tending to her every need with a love and tenderness that few saw from the usually tough and stoic actor. Bronson's personal life wasn't just marked by the joys of career success and love, it was also filled with heartbreaking tragedies. In 1989, Bronson and Ireland were devastated by the death of their adopted son, Jason, due to substance abuse. Jason, whom they had raised and loved as their own, succumbed to the grip of drugs. His death was a crushing blow to the family, especially to Ireland, who had long worried about her son's fate. She once confided that Jason was her greatest worry, and with his passing, she felt as though she had lost not only a child, but a part of her own life. Just 6 months after Jason's death, in May 1990, Jill Ireland also passed away after her long battle with cancer. Her death left a massive void in Bronson's heart. He had not only lost his beloved wife, but also his closest companion, the person who had shared all of life's highs and lows with him for so many years. This profound loss led Bronson to retreat from his career for several years. He lived in the deep sorrow of these losses, withdrawing from the spotlight of Hollywood and spending his time with the family he had left. The real personality and hidden secrets. On screen, Charles Bronson always appeared with a cold, tough demeanor, often playing characters who spoke little and acted with decisive force. But few knew that behind this powerful exterior, Bronson was a deeply sensitive man with a rich inner life. In stark contrast to his rough, violent roles, he had a love for painting and sculpture, spending quiet moments in his life creating art. In fact, he sold some of his paintings under his real name, Charles Bukowski, to avoid drawing attention due to his fame. Bronson also had a habit of embellishing stories about his past. He often shared tales of dramatic duels and thrilling adventures, but many of these stories were part of his imagination. It was possibly a way for him to build a legendary persona, a man whose real life seemed just as mythical as his on-screen characters. However, those who truly knew Bronson understood that behind these tales was a lonely man, far from the violent personas he portrayed on film. In addition to his sensitivity to art, Bronson had a deep fear of illness, which made him extremely cautious about anything that could expose him to infection. He was so concerned about his health that he avoided shaking hands with others to prevent the spread of germs. His fear of fire also played a significant role in his psyche. Whenever he stayed in hotels, Bronson always chose a room on the ground floor or the lowest level so he could quickly escape in case of a fire. These quirks and anxieties only came to light later in his life, after he had stepped away from the spotlight and lived his final years in quiet solitude. Throughout his career, Charles Bronson became known for being difficult and often clashed with directors and colleagues. Many stories circulated about his arguments and disputes on set. Bronson was unafraid to voice his opinions, sometimes bluntly criticizing directors if he was unhappy with how things were going. A prime example was his tense confrontation with director Nicholas Gessner, whom Bronson openly criticized. This led many to view him as hot-tempered and hard to work with. However, those close to Bronson saw a different side. They described him as a kind-hearted man, despite his often standoffish exterior. One heartwarming story involves Bronson giving a high-end skateboard to a young Kurt Russell on his 12th birthday. At the time, Bronson and Russell were filming together, and Russell had given Bronson a small, remote-controlled airplane for his birthday. Initially, Bronson appeared indifferent, but a few months later, he surprised Russell with the meaningful gift. When a security guard on set prevented Kurt from using his skateboard, Bronson didn't hesitate to stand up for the boy, declaring that they would both skate around the set together. These contrasting stories paint a complex picture of Charles Bronson, a man with a cold, sometimes gruff exterior, yet beneath it all, a warm and compassionate heart. His life, much like the films he starred in, was layered, deep, and always full of surprises. Legacy and later career. After the death of his beloved wife Jill Ireland in 1990, Charles Bronson's life took a quieter, more introspective turn. The pain of losing her led him to withdraw from the spotlight he had been part of for decades. Although he found some comfort with his third wife, actress Kim Weeks, the joy of this new chapter could not help him escape his worsening health issues. In his later years, Bronson was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a condition that slowly robbed him of his memory and the strength that had defined him throughout his career and life. He gradually lost the ability to recognize his loved ones, and his health steadily declined. This illness forced Bronson to retreat from acting, with his final screen appearance in the television movie Family of Cops 3rd in 1999. On August 30th, 2003, Charles Bronson passed away from pneumonia at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles at the age of 81. His death was mourned by his family, friends, and fans around the world. Although his acting career had ended years before, Bronson left an indelible mark on audiences. Beyond his impressive film legacy, Bronson also left behind a significant body of artwork under his birth name, Charles Bukowski. His paintings and sculptures not only demonstrated his artistic talent, but also offered a glimpse into the sensitive and deep soul of a man who had endured many hardships and tragedies throughout his life. Throughout his career, Charles Bronson appeared in over 90 films, an impressive number that few stars can match. He became an icon of the action genre, known for his portrayals of tough, stoic heroes, characters who spoke little but conveyed deep strength and humanity. From classic westerns like The Magnificent Seven to the controversial Death Wish series, Bronson consistently embodied a unique and unmistakable presence in cinema. Bronson was not only a symbol of strength, but also of resilience and determination. From a poor boy in Pennsylvania, he rose to become one of Hollywood's biggest stars despite facing a difficult path to fame. His career is more than just a personal success story. It is a testament to the power of perseverance and self-belief in overcoming humble beginnings. Bronson's journey serves as an inspiration for anyone striving to rise above adversity. The legacy Charles Bronson left behind extends beyond his classic films. It lies in the human values he conveyed through his roles. He often portrayed men who fought for justice, righteousness, and a search for truth in a world fraught with turmoil. Bronson's performances became a source of inspiration, not only for actors who followed, but also for everyday people fighting their own battles in life. Though Charles Bronson has passed away, his legacy endures. He was not just an actor, but a symbol of courage, perseverance, and the ability to overcome life's challenges. The values he imparted will forever remain a vital part of the history of world cinema. What do you admire most about Charles Bronson? In your opinion, what made him stand out in his 90 film roles? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more stories about the legendary icons you love. Thank you for watching our video, and we'll see you in the next one.